Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm 10 years old, and most people say I'm too smart for my own good. My mom, Maria, says it's both a blessing and a curse, but mostly a blessing. Thomas, hurry up with your breakfast or we'll both be late again. I shoveled the last of my cereal into my mouth while Maria rushed around our small apartment, gathering her work files. Our place isn't fancy, just a two-bedroom on the east side of town, but Mom keeps it clean and warm. Don't forget your science project. Maria kissed the top of my head as she grabbed her purse. I'll pick you up at 5 after my meeting with Mr. Daniels. I frowned at the mention of her boss. Is he giving you trouble again? Maria forced a smile, but I could see the worry in her eyes. Nothing I can't handle, baby. Now scoot. That's how most of our mornings go. Maria works as an administrative assistant at Daniels Property Management. She's been there 3 years, and for 2 of those years, Mr. Daniels has made her life hell. I've heard her crying on the phone to my Uncle Ray about it. He keeps losing my overtime paperwork, she told Uncle Ray last week. And suddenly I'm scheduled for all the holiday shifts none of the white employees want. At school, my teacher, Miss Peterson, caught me watching lawyer shows on my tablet during lunch again. Court TV again, Thomas? Most kids your age are watching cartoons. I shrugged. I like seeing how they solve problems. The lawyers always know exactly what to say. Miss Peterson sat beside me. You know, you have a real gift for analysis. Have you ever thought about joining the debate team? My mom works late. There's no one to pick me up after practices. Her face softened. We could work something out. It would be a shame to waste that brain of yours. Later that afternoon, Miss Peterson wrote a note for Maria about a special academic program. I was excited to show Mom, but when I arrived at her office to wait for her meeting to end, I heard shouting from behind Mr. Daniels' door. Your performance isn't meeting expectations, Maria. That's not fair. I've completed everything you've assigned, plus covering for Stephanie when she was out. Well, maybe this job requires someone with different qualifications. You mean someone who isn't a single black mother? I froze outside the door, my heart pounding. Watch your tone, Mr. Daniels hissed. Remember how much you need this job. With your background and lack of education, where else would you go? Who would hire you with a kid to support? I have rights. You have nothing. And if you push me, I'll make sure you get nothing. No references, no severance, nothing. Maybe think about that before you start throwing around accusations. I backed away from the door, anger boiling inside me. I'd seen enough courtroom dramas to know this wasn't right. Mr. Daniels couldn't treat my mom this way. My hand clenched around Miss Peterson's note in my pocket. Maybe I needed to learn more than just debate. Maybe I needed to learn how to fight back, for real. I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I went with Maria to her office during my teacher workday. I sat in the lobby with my tablet, watching everything. Morning, little man. Back again. Mr. Washington, the security guard, smiled at me. Just hanging out. Do people complain about Mr. Daniels a lot? Mr. Washington glanced around before leaning closer. Between us all the time, especially the women who look like your mama. I watched how different Mr. Daniels was with everyone. He joked with the white employees but barely looked at Maria or Janice from accounting. That evening, I called Uncle Ray. Thomas, everything okay, nephew? What's discrimination again, the kind that gets people in trouble? Why are you asking? Something happened with your mama? I told him everything about Mr. Daniels. Uncle Ray worked as a paralegal downtown. That lowlife, listen, what he's doing is illegal, but proving it is tricky. Your mama needs evidence. Like what? Patterns, recordings, written proof, but she's got to be careful. I could help collect it. I'm there all the time anyway. Thomas, this isn't a TV show. He made Mom cry again last night. Uncle Ray sighed. All right, I'm coming over Saturday. Don't do anything until we talk. Saturday, Uncle Ray brought a recording pen and a notebook. This stays in your mom's purse. Document everything, times, dates, exactly what's said, who was there. Like a real investigation? This isn't a game. If Mr. Daniels catches on. For 2 weeks, I documented everything. Mr. Washington even helped. That man's had 3 discrimination complaints in the past year, Mr. Washington whispered. Company hushed them up with settlements. One day, I overheard Mr. Daniels talking to HR near the bathroom. We need to let Maria go before her 3-year mark next month. Any specific reason? Her performance reviews have been solid. We're restructuring. I don't want her qualifying for those extended benefits. Too expensive for her position. I rushed this information to Uncle Ray. He's trying to fire her before she's eligible for better health care. Classic move. 2 days later, Maria came home with red eyes and a termination letter. They said my position was eliminated. Then I saw them posting the exact same job online before I even cleared my desk. I hugged her tight. Mom, we have all the evidence. Uncle Ray has been helping me. Evidence? Thomas, what are you talking about? I showed her my notebook, the recordings, and the pictures. Maria's eyes widened. You've been investigating Mr. Daniels all this time? I'm not letting him hurt you anymore. We're going to fight back. Maria stared at everything I'd collected, then pulled me into a fierce hug. Thomas, I don't even know what to say. Say we're going to take him down. For the first time since her firing, Maria smiled. Let's call Uncle Ray. Uncle Ray came over that same night with a friend, Miss Carter, who wore sharp glasses and carried a leather briefcase. This is the legal eagle I was telling you about, Maria. Best employment attorney in the city. Miss Carter reviewed everything I'd collected while I nervously watched her face for reactions. Did you really gather all this yourself, Thomas? Yes, ma'am. I numbered everything by date and marked which employees were present. Miss Carter looked impressed. Most adults don't document this thoroughly. You've got a clear pattern here. So, we have a case? Maria asked, clutching my hand. A strong one. Mr. Daniels made the classic mistake of putting discrimination in writing. That email about cultural fit when denying your promotion? Gold. I jumped in. Plus, we have the voice recording where he talks about firing Mom before benefits kick in. And the restructuring excuse falls apart since they reposted the identical position, Miss Carter added, sorting papers into piles. We need statements from other employees who experienced similar treatment. Uncle Ray nodded. I already reached out to Janice from accounting. She's willing to talk. What about Mr. Washington? I asked. He knows everything that happens there. Security guard, right? Miss Carter made a note. We'll need his statement too. The next day, we met Janice at a coffee shop. She looked nervous. I could lose my job for talking to you. They can't legally fire you for this, Miss Carter explained. That would be retaliation. Janice sighed. Mr. Daniels denied my raise 3 times while giving them to less qualified white employees, said I wasn't executive material despite my MBA. We collected 4 more statements that week. Meanwhile, I turned our dining room into what Uncle Ray called Litigation Central, with evidence organized in labeled folders. You sure you're only 10? Uncle Ray joked as I color-coded the timeline of events. Almost 11. I've been watching courtroom shows since I was 7. Every night after homework, I studied the law books Miss Carter lent me, learning terms like disparate treatment and hostile work environment. Maria found me asleep on them one night. Baby, you don't have to do all this. Yes, I do. No one messes with my mom. The company offered a settlement 2 weeks later, but Miss Carter advised against it. It's insultingly low and comes with a non-disclosure agreement. You deserve better and we can prove it in court. What if we lose? Maria worried. We won't, I said confidently. Mr. Daniels doesn't know what's coming. The hearing was scheduled for the following Monday. Miss Carter prepped us all weekend. Thomas, you won't be able to speak in court unless directly addressed by the judge. Understand? I nodded, but something in my expression must have worried her. I mean it. No matter what happens, let me handle the legal arguments. Yes, ma'am, I said. But in my head, I was already planning. I'd seen enough court shows to know sometimes you had to break the rules to get justice. The night before court, I couldn't sleep. I reviewed every detail of our case, practicing what I'd say if given the chance. Maria found me rehearsing in front of the bathroom mirror at 5 a.m. Thomas, honey, come get some breakfast. Today's the big day. I straightened my clip-on tie. Today's the day Mr. Daniels learns he picked the wrong family to mess with. The courtroom was bigger than I expected. Mr. Daniels sat with his fancy lawyer, looking smug in his expensive suit. He smirked when he saw us walk in. Don't worry, he whispered to his attorney loud enough for us to hear. She's just a single mother with a kid. This will be over by lunch. The judge, an older woman with silver hair, called the hearing to order. Miss Carter presented our case first, laying out the pattern of discrimination. Then it was Maria's turn to testify. Miss Jackson, please explain the circumstances of your termination. Maria started strong but faltered when Mr. Daniels' lawyer began cross-examination. Isn't it true that you were frequently late to work? Only when my son was sick, which I always, yes or no, please. Maria looked overwhelmed. Sometimes, but, and isn't it true that you accused my client of racism without evidence? No, just answer the question. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up. She has evidence. I collected it. The judge peered down at me. Young man, who are you? I straightened my clip-on tie. I'm Thomas Jackson, and I'm my mom's lawyer. The courtroom fell silent. Even Mr. Daniels looked shocked. Sit down, Thomas, Miss Carter whispered, but the judge raised her hand. Hold on. Let's hear what the young man has to say. I grabbed my binder and walked forward. Your Honor, I've been documenting Mr. Daniels' discrimination for months. I have recordings, pictures, and witness statements. The judge looked surprised, but nodded. Proceed? I pulled out the recordings first. Mr. Daniels' voice filled the courtroom. We need to let Maria go before her 3-year mark. I don't want her qualifying for those extended benefits. Then I showed the email chain about the restructuring alongside the identical job posting dated the same day Maria was fired. And here are statements from 5 other employees who experienced similar treatment, including Janice from accounting, who was denied promotion 3 times despite having an MBA. Mr. Daniels stood up, face red. This is ridiculous. You're letting a child present evidence? I'm 10. Not stupid, I shot back. And everything I'm showing is already in the case file. That's enough, Mr. Daniels shouted. This company makes decisions based on performance, not race. These people just can't handle criticism. Always playing the race card. The judge banged her gavel. Mr. Daniels, control yourself. But he was too angry to stop. I've worked too hard to let some welfare mom and her brat ruin my reputation. The courtroom gasped. His lawyer tried to quiet him, but the damage was done. 3 hours later, the judge delivered her verdict. Based on the overwhelming evidence of discriminatory practices, I find in favor of the plaintiff. Ms. Jackson is to be reinstated with back pay and damages totaling $175,000. 6 months later, everything had changed. Mr. Daniels was fired after 3 more discrimination suits came forward. Maria was promoted to office manager with better pay and benefits. Mr. Washington became head of security, and Janice finally got her promotion. As for me, I started middle school in the gifted program that Miss Peterson had recommended. I joined the debate team and mock trial club. Miss Carter even offered me an internship when I turned 16. You're destined for law school, Thomas, she told me at our celebration dinner. Maybe even the Supreme Court one day. I just smiled. I didn't need to be a real lawyer to know that standing up for what's right is always worth it, especially when it's for someone you love. What would you have done if you were in Thomas's position? Would you have secretly collected evidence against your parents' boss? Or do you think there was a better way to handle the situation? The line between right and wrong gets blurry when fighting against injustice. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more compelling stories like this one. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective on whether Thomas's methods were justified or if he crossed an ethical line, even for a good cause.